So I think this comes at the right time for concluding what you have been doing for the last 3 days. So when we had a workshop in June with the team from East Africa, one of the participants asked us that, you know, we'll always go for this conference and the workshop, and then what next after that? So this is basically going to be what next after this workshop that we are having from East Africa, North Africa, West Africa, and then South Africa, okay? So this is our story. So I think I read this during my first talk, but I'm going to read it again. Our story is SynBio Africa, SBA GCBRI is an initiative of SynBio Africa that is focused on building Africa capacity to prevent and manage global catastrophic biological risks. And this is our mission, to grow Africa capacity to combat global catastrophic biological risks. So we are now on the 6th month. So we started in April 2022, and we are going to end in March. So we're going to, this is phase 1. So covering these two, to create awareness and knowledge sharing of GCBRI, then to advocate for legal framework adoption and implementation. This is also phase 2. Phase 2 is going to be this one here, basically to identify and control GCBRI potential pathogen before it's beyond the contaminant phase 2, and then to prevent highly counterproductive responses that could turn potential manageable biological event into widespread economic, civil, security phase. Okay, so this is work in progress. And we have been working on this with the team from East Africa, and we would like you also to join us to help us to make this a better proposal, okay? Okay, so we had this in June, and we covered 16 countries. And this one we have this the last 3 days. It's supposed to cover this 10 countries. And next month we are going to go to West Africa. We're going to cover 14 countries, and then next year we're going to go to South Africa. So this is the map. This is East Africa. We combine Eastern African countries with Central, and this is the North and the South. And then of course this is also part of phase 1. So this is just the picture of those who participated in phase 1 who were on site. You can see me here, you can see Geoff and the rest. This is this group here. This was taken, I think, the first day of the conference. And these are the group that are online. So far we have 2 workshops. And this is the 6th month. We have 6 months to go. Okay, our phase 2 is cover these goals here. So I've already read this, so I'm not going to repeat this. So we have 3 strategic objectives. And from now on, I'm just going to call it SBA GCBRI 2. So these 3 strategic objectives, the first one is raising awareness and knowledge of GCBRI. And under this, we have 8 specific objectives. The second is monitoring and research in GCBRI. We have 8 specific objectives. And the third one is One Health, core components to GCBRI, to optimize use of antimicrobial in human, that the previous presenter just talked in human, animal, and plants, and this one has 4 specific objectives. So the timeline for this phase 2 is basically we are proposing to start in April 2021. depending on the fundings. So this is going to be 5 years, basically. Okay? So, we have been working on this the last 3 months, and we have details of the roadmap. I'm not going to share that right now, but I'm just going to go through at a higher level. We will work on the details of the roadmap and just share with you later, but I'm just going to discuss at a high level. So the first, okay, our first strategic objective is this one, and from now on, I'm going to call it SO1. It's raising awareness and knowledge of GCBRI. So we want to improve awareness and understanding of GCBRI through effective communication, education, and training, which we have been covering this. It includes 2 major actions: ensuring mass awareness, education, training of stakeholders. Okay? And these are our collaborators for this. So this is our SO1. We have public, governmental organizations from all over African countries, private sectors, educational institutions, civil society, and non-government organizations. So we're going to work with all these people, and this includes everyone, basically. Okay? Okay. So this is the first 4 specific objectives of strategic objective 1. The first, we are going to conduct multi-sectoral stakeholder awareness survey. So before we do anything else, we have to go to all these countries and survey what they know about GCBRI, what they're doing, what type of technology, because each country is going to be different. So we're going to work with, that's the first thing we're going to do. I remember we sent this group survey about GCBRI online. So that's the first thing we're going to do before we do anything else. And then after that, we're going to build a case for decision makers to develop policy, legal framework, and to counter GCBRI in consultation with other stakeholders. And these stakeholders are basically the collaborators. So you can see here we are bringing policy and legal framework for decision makers. So we're bringing everybody there. And then we are going to extend GCBRI in weekly broadcast at national level involving media, community radio, and television, because sometimes you have to work with this media, this media, so that you can try to educate community. And then we are going to develop and train focal point networks. So what do I mean by that? These are basically people who we are going to work with from each country. Can be through community leaders, can be policy makers. So each of them will be unique for each country. That's why we have first to start with doing this survey. Okay. And then we are going to set up a mechanism that integrates GCBRI concept in the curricula of professional and paraprofessional in various sectors. So when we were working on this, we didn't know that Kenya already working on such curriculum for biosafety and biosecurity. We could include GCBRI in that section. So that's why you have to do the survey, you have to work with all this, we know what are they doing, how can we come, because we don't want to do duplication really. We want to know what people are doing at even African CDC, what are they doing? And then we have to do a pilot project. So this is what I presented here yesterday, 2 days ago, about the dashboard. So this is part of, before we go here, before we reach here, we have to go through the first 4 objectives, okay? And then to develop, update, and enforce national biological waste management. Somebody already talked about waste management. We'll work with countries that maybe already have them, and countries that don't have them, we learn from that, okay? And then, of course, you have to review existing policy or program of GCBRI related to GCBRI in African countries. If they have it, well and good. If they don't, then how can we learn from them? So involving this waste management technology and data, even samples, because we need all this in order to be ready for GCBRI. Okay? So that was specific objective 1. So that one was for awareness. So the second one is monitoring and research in GCBRI. So basically, we want to strengthen base knowledge through monitoring and research in priority action that aiming at one, improve the capacity to detect, prevent, and respond to GCBRI, improve the ability of laboratories to produce quality services in detection of biological risk, assist in decision-making regarding the fight against GCBRI. So this strategic objective 2 is basically about monitoring and research, because without this, there's nothing much we can do, okay? So, again, these are collaborators. We're going to work with everybody for in working in that strategic objective. Pardon? Exactly. We need money, yeah. That's why it's going to be, yeah. Okay, so what are the specific objectives? One, the first we are going to take all the emerging technologies that have the potential of causing GCBRI from every country. We have to know that. And then secondly, we're going to work with various line ministries involving, who are involved in GCBRI research, country and their partners and funders. So when we're trying to work on this roadmap, a person on our team mentioned that we should include means of finance. We didn't know that. It's from Southern Sudan. It's a means of finance are involved in disease or pandemic. So if you include them in this, they may be able to help. Okay? So we have to develop diagnostic technology for early detection, rapid response in GCBRI in Africa, and develop genomic surveillance for emerging infectious disease at the community, laboratory, and wildlife. I'm going to talk about this briefly. So, what do I mean by genomic surveillance? I talk about, remember when I presented about DNA? It's now becoming very, very common that people use genomic surveillance. Even in the US now, they're using it for tracing all these type of variant of COVID. So how can we do that? We have to train people on that in bioinformatics and data science. We have to train them so that when we have this technology like the nanopore, if there's an outbreak somewhere, somebody can go with a small portable sequencing machine. They can go and sequence that pathogen, and within few hours, somebody can know that this type of pathogen either is a known pathogen or it's not a known pathogen. So this is a very, very, it's a new tool, but it's very, very, very effective. And then from the community is where we live. So we have to be able to do genomic surveillance from the community, from the laboratory. Laboratory all over the world are storing this dangerous pathogen, but sometimes they can escape, sometimes somebody might release them intentionally. And then from the wildlife. In Africa here, people do bush hunting. They can go to the bush, kill these animals, and then somebody might become sick. So then you can sequence the meat, or and then from there you can even discover that this pathogen came from what? From the bush meat. Again, to work with policymakers to develop policy framework governing genetic engineering, genetic biology for research and innovation. I'm also involved in startup. I have startup of bioplastic. I have very many friends who are startups in Africa. We have some startups in South Africa that are developing genetic biology using engineered microorganisms. But nobody's following those people, really. And through that, something can happen. They can escape. So they're using this genetic biology to develop, some of them are developing bioplastic, some of them are developing like enzyme, but there's no proper following up. So we need this, because those research and innovation, which is good, they're doing a very good thing, by the way. They're using genetic biology to innovate. But we have to have this to govern that, because if not, those are the potential threats of GCBRI. Okay, artificial intelligence machine learning, I talked about that. State association rooms for coordination and monitoring GCBRI. I will show that towards the end of my talk. And then to set up functional diagnostic lab and central lab to ensure detection and monitoring with GCBRI. Okay, the last one is strategic objective 3. So this is harness the One Health core components to counter GCBRI, optimize the use of antimicrobial in human. Forget about this S here. Something happened. Animal and plant. So what's it? Ensure efficiency, transparency, and management of medical, veterinary, and phytopathology products and appropriate use of microbial. So this is human, this animal, and this is plant. Okay? Again, these are collaborators. We need everybody. So, this is very interesting because when we're discussing this, people always talk about One Health, but they start from people who have gone maybe from bachelors. But why don't we start from kids? Start teaching them with cartoons about ecology, evolution, and ecology. So these kids know how to use computers. They watch these cartoons. We start teaching them about the danger of this through cartoons. That's why they start learning. So by the time they start going to school, they start even reaching the level where they can now start learning. They're already ahead of us, okay? And then, of course, we organize workshops like this one, conference training for One Health within the communities. Of course, develop AMR good practice guides that Sandra talked about, and work with stakeholders, assess existing policy framework relating to ethnomedicine for treating infectious diseases. Okay. Last but not least, for this strategic objective is develop and implement AMR stewardship program that strengthens system AMR surveillance in human, animal, and plants. Okay. So we have these 3 strategic objectives that we, with different specific objectives. So, how are we going to make everybody work together? Because what we realized when we were going to making this roadmap, we realized that we are all working silos. So how can we make sure that we are working together on all this? This is a prototype. We have to have a GIS web-based dashboard for sharing. So these are countries, all countries in Africa. These are strategic objectives, and these are our specific objectives. And this tells you whether these specific objectives are implemented or not. So this can be accessed with anybody in the world. So when we start working, we're going to have something like this that can be shared by anybody. Okay, let's do an example. You click on Algeria, everything will disappear. So everything left here is about Algeria. You click on strategic objective 1 and say, okay, what's the status here? If you click on this, it will tell you, okay, this has been implemented. Let's go to Mali. You click on Mali, it goes there. Strategic objective 2, you go to 5, and so forth. So this will help us bring everybody together. So when we are working, we're not working silos. And this will also be accessed by people like World Health Organization. We need them. People like African CDC, because we need them. Okay? So in summary, our GCBRI phase 2 have 6 strategic objectives. For raising awareness and knowledge, this one has 8 specific objectives. Monitoring and research has 8 specific objectives. And this One Health has 5. And then we are going to share this information throughout Africa using GIS web-based dashboard. And working with everyone, we think this might take 5 years, fund permitting. With that, I thank Open Philanthropy for the funds. Our core team, we are 7. And then all these dashboards is being done by Magma Consultants, the prototype, and this is the core team, the participants both online and here, and then facilitators. With that, I open the floor for discussion. Thank you very much.
So, what do you have to say? We already have a comment from Professor Head here telling us where is the money coming from? That will need a lot of money. Where will the money come from? That's the same question we're asking ourselves. So hopefully, from such interactions, we shall get an idea or two on how to go about fundraising.
That's a very good question, but we cannot just shy away because we don't have money. We have to do something. That's why we're giving the 5 years. In the process, we get money. We start slowly. And by the way, this covers everything that was discussed the last 3 days here. It's included here.
I mean, this is the problem of anyone seeking to do action, is where the money is coming from. And I think one of the key things to bear in mind is that money likes to go with proven good partners. And so one of the things I would urge you to do is to think about what you can do up front which doesn't involve a lot of money, to create that track record of achievement and becoming a trusted partner, so that then you're in a better place to go after the bigger money.
Thank you very much for that advice. I appreciate it.
So I think that some objectives, mainly the first one, for raising awareness, it's achievable with our own finance, because I think that each African countries can integrate biosecurity in all teaching and faculties. And from our side, we have a master class on called early warning and response, and there is a lot of in the preparedness module we have a lot of teaching on biosecurity. So also we can via the association we can organize conferences and workshops and training to raise the awareness about the issue. But for others objectives, mainly network monitoring and research, we need a lot of funds to achieve it. And I am thinking about, is there some suggestion? Is there some founders to help us, and where we can apply to get this fund, so we can implement our and achieve our objectives?
Thank you very much for that. I agree with you, but right now, as I said, we need to make other African countries know. How can we get what you're doing so that we put somewhere that everybody knows what you're doing, so they can apply, so that you can train them? Because right now, it's the first time we've had that you have those. That's why we have this map here. So to answer your question, we need something like this that will tell us that the type of training and the knowledge, and we have something so that people know. And then if somebody goes, we are from where? You're from Tunisia? Yeah. If somebody goes and click on Tunisia, we'll tell them what type of training you have, what courses, and then that will help to bring people together. Okay? Thank you.
Okay. I think the idea of team to start, what is feasible to do that do not cost, I think is a way to start. But we should think also about, to put a network where we can share, information about, grant partner that, can finance, in the field. So that will be an opportunity for us, for everybody to make application on that.
Thank you for that. So he's taking notes on that too.
Thank you, Stephen, for this detailed presentation about the phase 2 or the next steps. I have two questions for you. The first is that you say that you're taking the decentralization approach, and I agree with you. This will be good because the African continent is huge contain huge countries, like 55 countries. So this approach is good. My question is that how you can implement these decentralizations based on the region or based on the country? This is the first question.
Okay, that's a very good question. Remember, I gave a talk 2 days ago. We start with the region, and then within the region goes to the country, because that's why we have those four regions there. We start regionally, and within the region we'll be working with regional organizations like African CDC, because they already have those. Yeah, also. From the region, then within the region we go to the country.
Again, for this point, for example, for Africa CDC, they have 5 regions. It doesn't matter what is you involve it central for the east or west. It doesn't matter the number of the regions. But my question is that for Africa CDC, they already make a regional center, a regional collaborating center for each region, and the regional collaborating center should be a branch of the Africa CDC in these regions, and these regional collaborating center will serve these countries, and within each countries they have technical working group reporting for this. So what's your approach? Is it typically like this, or do you have another approach?
That's a very good question. As I said, this is work in progress. So we will learn what people are doing, what can we learn from them. So this, I said, this is work in progress. We have been 3 months or, yeah, so.
Okay, for the second question regarding the area you are trying to work on, you are mentioned many areas. I enumerated the most important from my side, which is the genomic surveillance and One Health approach and sharing informations. My question is that, do you planning to work on simultaneously on these areas, either this or more, or you should focus on or make your prioritization priority for 1 or 2 areas to focus on it and to work on it first, and then you can proceed?
That goes to his comments and her comments. First of all, we cannot work with, we don't have all the skills. We have to collaborate with people. I think we'll start with what's called a hanging fruit, something that will make us work and show that we can do something. Okay, let's talk about genomic surveillance. That's my area. I can work with people. I've been doing that. And genomic surveillance is becoming cheaper because of this nanopore technology. So that one, I think, is cheaper a little bit, and I'm an expertise in that. But other area where I don't have an expert and we don't have experts, that one we need extra people to come and work with us. So, yeah.
Yes, I think this is some sort of prioritization you're making this based on the available partnership. Yeah. For my side, okay, we can make some partnership for genomic surveillance and maybe for data sharing. Okay, can talk details later. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I would like to know about to attend this objective. For example, for surveillance, genomic surveillance, or emerging pathogen, we can use the data of the country. We can develop the protocol to have another data.
Yeah, as I said, this is. If a country have their data, we can work with them. So, if they don't have the data, we will work with them to collect data. So we are flexible. That answer your question?
It's possible to develop a protocol above to attain the objective.
Sure, definitely. You have to work. Okay, to develop that. Pardon?
Protocol and to share with other countries.
Exactly, depends on the country. Exactly, depends on each country is unique. Okay, that answers your question? Yes, that each country is going to be unique. Yeah.